Welcome back to Mega Celebrity, the place where we bring you the real stories behind the stars. In today's video, we'll take a closer look at the lives and legacies of beloved icons we've lost this week. From their early beginnings to their rise to fame, family life, challenges, and unforgettable contributions, we'll celebrate their journey and the mark they've left on the world. Stay tuned, because this is more than just news. It's a tribute to lives that touched millions. Number 1. Ricky Hatton was born Richard John Hatton on October 6, 1978 in Stockport, England, and grew up in the Hattersley Council estate in Hyde, Greater Manchester. He came from a working-class family and was known early on for his energy, humor, and toughness. He went to Hattersley High School and even had a trial with the Rochdale football youth team. But his true passion became boxing. He started training as a boy, learning discipline and resilience at local clubs, and quickly built a reputation for his power and relentless drive. As an amateur, Ricky represented England at the 1996 IBA Youth World Championships. A controversial loss there left him disillusioned with amateur judging, and that pushed him toward turning professional. In September 1997, at just 18 years old, he made his pro debut in Widnes, stopping Colin McCauley in the first round. From that night, it was clear that Hatton had the crowd-pleasing style that would define his career. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, Hatton built his record on undercards across Britain. He was a pressure fighter, always marching forward, throwing hard punches to the body, and wearing opponents down. Fans loved his style because he never gave less than everything in the ring. His popularity grew quickly, and soon he was headlining shows of his own. Hatton's breakthrough came in June 2005, when he faced the legendary Kostya Tszyu, one of the most feared champions in the light welterweight division. In a fight that shocked the world, Ricky forced Tszyu to retire on his stool after 11 rounds. With that victory, Hatton became the IBF light welterweight champion and announced himself as one of the best boxers in the world. That night at the Men Arena in Manchester is still remembered as one of the greatest moments in British boxing history. He went on to collect more belts, unifying titles and defending his championships with his relentless, never-say-die approach. By 2007, Hatton was undefeated with 43 wins, a record that earned him a shot at the pound-for-pound king, Floyd Mayweather Jr. The fight, held in Las Vegas, was one of the biggest events in boxing that year. Thousands of British fans traveled to America, singing his anthem Blue Moon and creating a football-like atmosphere. Although Hatton lost by technical knockout in the 10th round, his popularity only grew. Fans admired his courage to face the very best. 2 years later, Hatton stepped up again, this time against Manny Pacquiao. Unfortunately, that night ended brutally. Pacquiao knocked him out in the second round with one of the most devastating punches of his career. The defeat was heartbreaking for Hatton and his supporters, and it marked the beginning of the end of his time at the very top of the sport. Ricky attempted a comeback in 2012, facing Vyacheslav Senchenko in Manchester. The arena was full of loyal fans, hoping for one more chapter of glory. But after a brave performance, Hatton was stopped in the 9th round. That night, he announced his final retirement from professional boxing. It was an emotional farewell, as tears rolled down his face in front of the people who had supported him since day one. Outside the ring, Hatton's life was filled with both joy and struggle. He had 3 children. Campbell, born in 2001 from a previous relationship, who later followed in his father's footsteps as a professional boxer, and 2 daughters, Millie and Fionn, with his former fiancée, Jennifer Dooley. He also had a granddaughter, Lila, who brought him happiness in later years. Ricky's brother, Matthew Hatton, was also a professional boxer, and his father, Ray, was heavily involved in managing his career. His family life was not without tension, though. Disagreements over money and personal matters sometimes caused rifts, especially between Ricky, his parents, and his brother, though he tried to mend those relationships later. Hatton was open about his personal demons. He battled depression for years, admitting publicly that he had attempted suicide more than once. He struggled with alcohol and drugs, and these challenges were well documented by the press. But rather than hide his pain, Hatton often chose to talk about it, using his own struggles to raise awareness about mental health. In doing so, he inspired many others who were facing similar battles. Financially, Ricky earned millions during his boxing career, with estimates of his fortune reaching as high as £35 million at its peak. He was known for enjoying his wealth, but also for losing large sums due to mismanagement and lifestyle choices. Even so, he never lost the affection of his fans because he was still seen as the same working-class lad from Manchester who loved a pint, a laugh, and a night with his mates. After retiring, Hatton remained involved in boxing as a trainer and promoter. He coached fighters, worked in gyms, and stayed close to the sport he loved. He also appeared on television, including reality shows like Dancing on Ice, where he showed another side of his personality. In 2024, his legacy was cemented when he was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame, a recognition of his achievements and his impact on the sport. In his final months, Hatton was preparing for an unexpected comeback. He had agreed to fight Isa Al-Da in Dubai in December 2025, and he had started training again, telling fans he was excited to return. But tragically, on September 14th, 2025, Ricky Hatton was found dead at his home in Hyde, Greater Manchester. He was only 46 years old. Police said his death was not suspicious. The news devastated his family, friends, and millions of fans worldwide. Tributes poured in from across the sporting world. Fellow boxers like Amir Khan, Tyson Fury, and Manny Pacquiao paid their respects, remembering not just a champion, but a friend. Manchester City Football Club, Ricky's beloved team, honored him, with fans singing "Blue Moon" in his memory. To many, Hatton wasn't just a fighter. He was a symbol of grit, resilience, and the spirit of ordinary people achieving extraordinary things. Ricky Hatton's story is one of triumphs and trials, of glorious victories in the ring and painful battles outside it. He was never perfect, but that was part of his charm. He lived openly, with honesty about his flaws, and with a heart that his fans will never forget. For those who watched him fight, for those who sang his name in arenas, and for those who loved him as family and friend, Ricky Hatton will always be remembered as one of us, a legend of British boxing, and a man whose legacy will live on. Richard "Rick" Davies was born on July 22, 1944, in Swindon, Wiltshire, England. From an early age, he was surrounded by music. His mother, Betty, was a hairdresser. His father, also named Richard, was a merchant seaman. Growing up, his interest in music was fueled by a second-hand radiogram and records that his parents gave him when he was still a child. That gift would become one of the most important in his life, because it introduced him to jazz, blues, and rock and roll. He learned drums first, taking lessons and playing in a marching band when he was about 12 years old. But it wasn't long before he taught himself piano, organ, and keyboards, discovering that those instruments offered a richer palette for his musical ideas. In the mid-1960s, after a brief period working outside music, he even did some welding after his father fell ill, he returned to his first love. He joined a band called The Joint and then took a big step. In 1969, he placed an ad in Melody Maker magazine seeking musicians. That ad was answered by Roger Hodgson, and together, along with other musicians, they formed the band that would become Supertramp. The first two albums, Supertramp, 1970, and Indelibly Stamped, 1971, met with modest response. but they laid down the early DNA of the band: creative ambition, songwriting with lyrical themes that questioned life, relationships, identity, mixed with catchy melodies. Davies, from the beginning, was involved in writing songs, singing some, playing keyboards, harmonica, bringing in influences from blues and jazz. By 1974, Supertramp's big moment had come. Crime of the Century was released, and Rick's gritty baritone voice combined with Dreamer, Bloody Well Right, and other tracks connected deeply with listeners. The band's sound matured. Complex arrangements, strong lyrics, theatrical touches, and audience numbers soared. It felt like everything clicked: the songwriting teamwork between Davies and Hodgson, the instrumentation, the mood.